Well, good evening again. You know, I think this is my 20th time of coming here in 26 years. I missed the first 6. And when a candidate stands up here, I think you're entitled to ask 2 questions. Where have you been? And what have you done? It's easy when you decide to run for office to suddenly show up, even if you have no identification with the community or its issues or its challenges of any sort. I'm not a fair weather friend. I've been here for 20 years. And I have spoken out on behalf of this community when it was inconvenient, when in fact it cost me politically. Because I do not believe in discrimination ever for any reason. And I have moved aggressively to protect the interests of the Arab American community in Fairfax County and in Northern Virginia. I have a record. I have a record. On 9/11, that afternoon, when feelings were running hot, I called our police chief and said, you protect every Islamic center, you go to every mosque, you go to every Islamic center of prayer or study, and you make sure that there are no incidents against that population. And then subsequently, we in fact set up meetings with the police community and with the FBI so that the community, their concerns could be heard directly. In fact, Penny Gross, I see Penny Gross over there, you were with me. We did it in the Mason Government Center to try to make sure that there was a direct dialogue. And by the way, I carried that concern about the violation of civil liberties. This member of Congress voted against the reauthorization of the Patriot Act because I felt it discriminated against many Americans, including Americans in this community. Not an easy vote. When I was chairman of Fairfax County, we had to renew the license for the Islamic Saudi Academy on Route 1. And I had to listen to right-wing groups come and testify before our Board of Supervisors that it was a hotbed of terrorism, that we didn't want that kind of facility in our community, and unbelievable, unsubstantiated, and discriminatory statements being made. I was chairman. And I called those bigots out for who they are, and I told them in a public hearing, we're not going to act on your bigotry. We're going to renew the license to have the Islamic Saudi Academy in Fairfax County, and we did. On the Hill, I've tried to be a bridge. When there are voices calling for the defunding of the Palestinian Authority, I oppose them publicly. In fact, I signed a letter led by Congressman David Price of North Carolina, also signed by Jim, that said we're not going to defund the Palestinian Authority. That would guarantee an explosion in an already volatile situation. When there was a motion to close the Palestinian Authority office here in Washington and let it just be in New York, I opposed it and said that it would be a terrible blow to diplomacy and not in U.S. interest, let alone Palestine's interest. I was the only member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee who spoke out against the Egyptian military after the coup, because they overthrew a democratically elected government, whether we like it or not. And either the United States supports democracy or we don't. And even though our government may not like the Muslim Brotherhood, I may not like the Muslim Brotherhood, that government did not mow down thousands of their fellow citizens in the streets of Cairo and Alexandria. So, when you evaluate who do you want for Congress, ask yourself 2 questions. Where have you been? And what have you done? Because that tells you a lot about what you are likely to do if given the chance. Thank you for having me again after 20 years.